Welcome to the Advanced Overlord's Guide. For the most part, stat-wise, weapon-wise, it's identical to the Beginner's Guide. There will be some adjustments, though. So, little tidbits here and there. One of the things that I've noticed is Lava Deco is not our best in slot for now. It's actually getting Cheerleader up above like 27 to 28 crit power. So if you get these all above 25 to 28, they do more damage than the lava by a decent amount. Not like 50 million damage, it's like 5 to 10 million per, but it's enough of a difference. Where Lava Deco comes in handy is if you're farming like Treasury, BOA, stuff that you want a lot of drops. You could probably also use it for gold farm and stuff like that. But you're probably not gold farming at this point on your Overlord since you are above Reborn 20. So, for this part, I will do a quick little Volcanus run as a demonstration. I am Reborn 30 on my Overlord. So, we'll just go over a Volcanus run. This isn't too bad at this point, but as you can see, Armageddon still is a little finicky. It's not 100% perfect, but it's still faster than some of the other classes. And since this is a all-arounder, you don't have to worry about typing as bad. Like if we get a null, it's not as terrible as some of the others. Like here we have the skeletons. It's not a big deal. They die almost as fast as if we had the skeleton gear on. Now the only downside right now is the guardians are disabled in Volcanus. But this is just the normal boss. Oh, got feared. So you can actually swap to a crystal spider here, or if you want your cobra, gold cobra, and that would pretty much replace your Astaroth. Astaroth's still really good for Treasury and just general tanking, but you can't swap it to a cobra. I just like it because of the big heal, especially in Treasury. You need as many heals as you can get, even though it's not too big of an issue. But every heal is kind of nice. Especially when you have to keep healing and then one of your mobs gets slept and then you're just kind of SOL. And there's just the downside of Armageddon bugging out sometimes. You get that little thing and then bang. So again, it's not perfect, but again, it's definitely a lot easier, and you can just keep doing this over and over. VM struggles with doing multiple runs back to back to back to back to back, whereas this one, there isn't really much variance besides just if Armageddon decides to not cooperate. So, yeah. Again, it's not the worst time in the world. And then done. A fairly painless Vulc runs. Now, with your weapons, specifically with Treasury stuff, you'll have sometimes where, for instance, I'm using a one-handed axe, and it has creature taming. For whatever reason, this is beating my one-handed staff with 30 more crit power. So sometimes the stats get a little wonky. The one-handed staff is a not tier 1 mythical. So there could be some behind the scenes because we don't see the full stats here. So there could be a little finicky stuff here and there. But you'll have to use what you get, test and see. So for me, the one-handed axe has been working mostly fine. Haven't had any issues besides having to get another weapon. That's the only downside. You have to get another different weapon. So if you have a one-hand mace, one-hand staff, one-hand axe, that's pretty much it. Or the dirk. So you just have to use what you get when you get a tier 1 mythical 225. And just test. Like, you just compare the damage. So for instance, you will go into whole chat, turn on your damage, skill damage. And you can see here, the Armageddon's doing 362. So if we swapped to our lava gear, so 362, 362. And now that we swap to the lava gear, you see it's 352. So about a 10 mil loss going from cheerleader to the lava dough. But with lava, you get a lot more stats. So you see the luck specifically, it's almost 100 more, which is worth it for the drops. So take a bit of a loss for damage, gain a little for the drops. It's, again, mostly fine. It's only a few percentile damage loss. So not a huge issue, but it is something to keep in mind for this kind of stuff, where you're trying to min-max every little thing. For your Guardian gear, I would recommend getting Guardian gear for Treasury specifically, because it reduces the damage taken by a lot. It's not really going to increase your damage that much. It does a little bit with the crit power increase, but it's not going to be as dramatic from going from Nooselite to Dragon or Nooselite directly to Guardian. That's a massive gain in damage. But going from Dragon to Guardian, it's not really a damage gain. It's mostly just a reduction. So if you want to stick with Guardian, do so. You're just going to have to be healing a lot more in Treasury, in Abyss 4, all those places where you take a lot more damage, even CV. Whereas Guardian gear, you really don't take much damage at all. So that is the good, if this gets buffed a little bit to do a lot more damage, just so it's like this is the creme de la creme of gear, that would be fine. I would definitely wouldn't mind that. But for everything else, I do have 2 Yeshiva rings. You can mostly get away with the other ones, or just have the one for the Yeshiva set. It is nice having both, especially for Vulc. So it's not as big of a damage gain as it is for Void Mage and for Templar, because this one is a one button over, Armageddon, whereas the other 2 are multiple spells. They kind of have to mesh well enough, and once they do, you're good. Whereas this one is just tab Armageddon, tab Armageddon. So, alright, so for your boss cards, you're going to have these 2 choices. Legend, you're probably going to just find whatever one has Mephisto on it, with Microraptor preferably. And if you're even luckier, you get a Bear Mother, Mephisto, Microraptor. That's pretty much set for that. You're not going to get anything better. And then for this, obviously Devil Reviac is preferred. You can maybe get Barga for a little health, but it's not really worth, min-maxing. We want Knowledge just for the extra M attack. And then, again, this just varies. Instant spellcast would be fucking amazing. I have no idea if that works for Armageddon. I have yet to get a Lucius. So it's pretty much just get Devil Reviac, that's priority. And then hope that it either rolls Knowledge and something else useful. But Reviac is priority over everything else. So, piggybacking off of the other comment about the lava gear versus the cheerleader, you can re-roll cheerleader with the Book of Seven Seals. You can't re-roll lava deco at the moment. I'm hoping he can make it so, or just do an exchange, but that's it to be determined. So, helmet doesn't matter. It's just bugged. Um, Armor, you probably just want luck. You can get health if you want. It's not like Templar. So it's like a nice to have, but it doesn't add any damage or survivability in Treasury because everything is based on your max HP. So it doesn't change that. So luck would be better. Cast speed would be nice, but again, luck would be fine as well. All stats would be nice for boots, but again, you can get int whiz. It's not as big of a deal as it is on Templar or VM. So it is, and then main weapon, M attack is fine. You don't need P attack. So if it rolls M attack, you're good. You don't have to worry about it. This doesn't really matter. You can get luck, but you're probably going to get accuracy. You're going to want the one thing you do want, and then it gets the other stuff. That's usually how it works. And then again, this doesn't really matter. You can maybe get luck, but this only applies to the bearskin belts. This does not apply to the... I don't believe this applies to Yeshiva belt. I think this is only bearskin belt. So, that's just going over the Ares Awakening. In this segment, we'll go over skills. I made an error in the last one. So, if you thought Fever Aura was an aura, how dumb do you think I am? Because I thought it was a fucking aura. I didn't know it was a spirit support. So, hopefully in the next update, this is going to get swapped to Fever Support. So it's actually, for dumbasses that read as an aura, expecting it to be an aura, not a support. Other than that, nothing else changed from the beginner's guide. There isn't any skills that are like suddenly dramatically different like they are for Templar once you get enough M attack. This one, everything's the same. Nothing changed besides Fever Aura. You should probably use Fever Aura instead. It's a lot better than the other one. You get a lot more crit power and everything. So. My bad. I read Aura, I thought it was Aura. So, that's the only main difference. For BOA, I swapped the heal for the mana. Generally, you'll be fine. I just like having it as a backup, because usually your Hymn of Tranquility is enough. It'll heal plenty and give you back enough mana. For the most part, you'll be fine. It won't be an issue. But here, this is identical to hard mode Abyss in terms of like the mob difficulty. So depending on where you want to harm here or harm hard mode Abyss, it's the exact same. You just do these, use your heals every so often, and yeah. So nothing really different here. Just remember when you're doing Treasury and you're doing most of these, like you're trying to farm books, swap to Belt Koalas. It's a little less damage overall than if you were to go and do the Ethereal Pixie and the Baphomet S5. So you can swap to those when you do Vulc and other prioritizing speed and damage over drops. But if you just want pure drops, you want to swap to the Belt Koalas. You want your luck to be as high as possible. Otherwise, you are not going to get as many drops as you possibly could. That's where I would recommend swapping back to the lava set. So, it is what it is with that. So as you can see, you're not taking that much damage, and when you do, you just hit your either your big heal. I usually just prefer doing the Undin's Blessing or the Phoenix Embrace because it's a heal over time. So you don't have to constantly do the single heal and then be done. So yeah, this is BOA. Nothing too difficult here. Now, there is one downside with this, is if you ever get disconnected, you need to spam, like, you need to click your character and spam heal as fast as possible. The dots will kill you. So just keep that in mind for this in Treasury. If you ever do get DC'd mid-combat, you're probably gonna die. So just keep that in mind. This part of the video will be going over Treasury. So I kind of don't recommend you do Treasury until you have a full Guardian set. Just because of the damage taken here is significantly higher than pretty much anywhere else in the game. Because of the dots and the mob stuff. So make sure you have a full Guardian set before doing this on your Overlord or whatever character if you're just watching this. But this is kind of the setup I run just because I prioritize mostly just heals for both me and the pets. Because you will need both. If the pets tank a lot of the stuff, they'll get the dots. If you're just doing your Armageddon stuff, it kind of swaps back and forth. But this is fairly easy. This isn't going to be exactly difficult unless you're not in full Guardian gear. But again, this is pretty much endgame of just farming the this kind of gear stuff and the advanced BPOCs. So, for the most part, it's fairly easy. It's not like Void Mage. Void Mage struggles here just because of the damage taken. It can't really use tank pets because they get smacked pretty hard. So this is kind of just a hybrid between the Templar being super tanky with the pets and the VM being able to cast everything. But you can still make VM work. It's not that difficult. It's just a little more involved. Just making sure you don't die. Whereas this, you can just have your pets attack, use one of the AoE heals, or the Astronaut / Crystal Golem heal, and you're good. So, this is just Treasury. Not terrible. It's not that difficult. You just go back and forth, make sure you don't die. Yeah. So this one I'm just going to show a timed run for Vulc with everything on. Of course, it would get me petrified on the first attempt. So rude. Okay, we'll redo that one. So there you go. A 43-second run. Not terrible, you know. Obviously, you can do a little faster, but you have to take consideration that there's going to be 1 to 3 Guardians after the Vulc, so under a minute. Not too bad. So, definitely could do that, and then optimize it a little bit. But, yeah, about 40 seconds. Not too bad.